Entiéndeme bien. Ya no estás en Chile.
Don Eladio is a character from the TV series Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. In this video, we'll look at why Eladio actually ordered the murder of Gustavo Fring's partner, what kind of pendant he wears around his neck, what methods he uses to control the cartel, and what his main mistake was. Eladio Vuente, aka Don Eladio, aka the Winking Greek, is a charismatic drug cartel boss. Usually, Eladio behaves amicably towards his subordinates and associates, but everyone knows that at any moment this feigned goodwill can suddenly turn into cruelty. If someone provokes him in any way, he can suddenly order one of his men to kill the one who shows disrespect. In other words, Eladio is unpredictable, which forces his associates, including the closest ones, to constantly be on edge around him, fearing to incur his wrath without even realizing it. Most of the time, Eladio spends on his villa, enjoying parties and hard alcohol, particularly tequila.
Ya basta de negocios. Traigan las chicas.
He loves flashy gifts. For example, Lalo Salamanca gives him a car. Despite showing cruelty, Don Eladio acts solely out of mercantile motives.
Estás en el negocio equivocado, mi amigo.
By the way, what's the pendant around Don Eladio's neck that he never parts with? The same pendant that Mike Ehrmantraut tears from his neck. And Fring shows it to Hector as proof of his death. Apparently, the matter is that Don Eladio wears such pendants and earrings with eyes not to scare anyone. Their main purpose is to protect against the evil eye. Combined with the skull, this ornament is nothing more than a talisman. As is known, the cartel was organized by Juan Bosola, Hector Salamanca, and Eladio. However, Eladio took the boss's place. Why did this happen? The thing is that each of them contributed something of their own to this organization. Juan Bosola's brother is a police chief. There are necessary connections. The Salamanca family is the cartel's enforcers. But what about Eladio? Eladio has cocaine shipments from Colombia. Of all these three components, the goods turned out to be the most important. And that's why it was Eladio who later headed the cartel. How does Eladio control the cartel? When it comes to production, one knows that if you don't want any of your former employees to turn into your competitor tomorrow, you need to distribute functions and competencies in such a way that each individual subordinate does not see the whole picture as a whole, so that he does not have information about the entire production chain and does not have contacts with all suppliers and partners. Don Eladio knew this because drug dealing is a criminal business activity. Eladio not only distributes functions among different members of the cartel, but also manipulates them, setting them against each other to prevent any of them from forming an alliance and seizing power. Don Eladio's favorite method is to demand that each of his subordinates bring him monetary tribute. At the same time, the one who brought the larger sum received the boss's loyalty and more competencies. This is how Fring quickly rose in the cartel's structure, by organizing an effective transportation and distribution system. Gustavo gained more control in the organization, gradually ousting the Salamanca family. Don Eladio decides to eliminate Gustavo Fring's partner, Max Arsene, after they come to him with a proposal to produce methamphetamine for him.
Yo lo necesito. Él es mi compañero. Por favor, se lo...
Before the murder, Eladio states that methamphetamine is a drug for bikers, and The poor.
Se conoce. Eso es la cocaína para los pobres.
Fring does not respect him. After all, he thinks that he is allowed to change the rules of the game in this business without soglasovania with Don Eladio, to engage in production and distribution in front of his people, which is a dangerous precedent.
Sea honesto. No hay nada más que ofrecen. Un plato, un bocadillo, algo por el lado, a lo mejor.
The true reason is slightly different. Eladio asks Max, if you cook, why do I need Gustavo?
Que me digas una cosa. Si tú eres el cocinero, ¿para qué lo necesito a él?
Here it needs to be explained what Eladio means. Don Eladio supplies goods from Colombia, and Fring and others, Kappa, distribute them. If Max starts producing goods independently, then Eladio now has to take from him. Gustavo Fring, as the best distributor of Colombian cocaine, is extremely useful to Don Eladio. But when he also turns into a producer, it's already a rather dangerous situation. Max produces, Fring distributes. Why do they need Don Eladio now? And Don Eladio himself, with such a business scheme, actually becomes on a par with Fring as another distributor. That's why he asks, if you cook, then why do I need him? Why do I need Fring, who with this scheme of work becomes dangerous for me as a competitor today? You will start producing methamphetamine tomorrow. You will start covertly selling goods to my Kappa lieutenant. And the day after tomorrow, I'll be eliminated as a superfluous link. Max and Fring argue that by producing the product, they can increase their profits by a factor of 2. They don't realize that money is certainly important to Eladio, but control and power are much more important, and what they're offering just deprives Eladio of some of that power. And control. Ideally, Don Eladio should have killed Fring, not Max, or both, so that all his men would remember that such things are unforgivable. But he decides to teach Fring a lesson by killing his partner and keeping Gustav alive for some undisclosed reason. Undisclosed reasons from their past in Chile, and also out of greed because Gustav brings in a very big payoff in the future. Don Eladio revises his opinion about methamphetamine and organizes production in Mexico under his own control. But Gustav still starts to produce meth, having trained Gail Boddicker to do so, and later hiring Walter White to provoke a war with the cartel. If you like the video, please like and write any comment under this video. And if you are the first time on the channel, subscribe